What's up, guys? Welcome back to Don't Be Sour. I am your host, Maxx King Dingling, Chewning, and today we are graced with our presence. The man himself, the elder Chewning, Chase Chewning.
I haven't heard that in a minute. I forgot about that.
You had like a coined name. You like made your own nickname.
Well, your people years ago dubbed me Chewning the Elder, and I just ran with it. That was my Instagram handle for, I think, a couple years.
The older Chewning?
Chewning the Elder.
Chase is my brother. This is my brother. We've done one episode before on this show.
Yeah.
Like a year ago?
It was your birthday, 2022.
Oh, that was when I had the surprise party that Taylor did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And we dived into like everything.
Yeah.
Got a little deep towards the end.
Like deep end.
Super deep. And why don't you give the people a little recap of who you are, what you do, for those who don't know.
I'm the dude playing the dude. I did that joke last time. My name is Chase. I'm Max's older brother, and I am a certified health coach, a wellness entrepreneur, a wellness podcaster, and small business owner, fur dad. No, I'm not like a furry. I'm not into weird shit. A little weird shit, but not like that. Fur baby dad. I'm married.
Shouldn't they go like the top of your thing? Be like, I'm a husband.
First of all, I'm a husband. I am whatever my wife wants me to be. And given my outfit, I'll let people, I'm an Army veteran as well. I don't know, can they even see me right now?
It's because he's camo, you know?
I'm like a talking head right now.
Chase and I have known each other for, I've known Chase for 34 years.
Almost your whole life.
I know. That is banana sandwich. And
over 34 years. Damn.
Where do you live?
I currently live in Los Angeles, California, which is where the women flock instinctively like the salmon of Capistrano.
Capistrano.
Wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
And I feel like on the last one, so what we're not going to do on this episode, I'm not going to dive super deep into our childhood and our history because
yeah, I'm over all my feelings.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, we've done all that.
Yep.
You're still living in LA, but you're about to move, right?
Well, we are currently exploring options. We've been in LA for 5 years, a little over 5 years, and I don't know, just kind of feeling, I don't know, want to shake some shit off or stir it up. You know, I like new environments, whether that means moving across town, moving across country, who knows?
Chase,
moving across the world.
Every single person that I know that moves to LA moves out of LA.
Well, how many people do you know moved to LA?
A lot of them. So many girls, the bunch of dudes. That's girls and dudes.
Wait, my wife is a girl and I'm a dude. We definitely fall in that category.
I feel like the writing is on the wall of when you move to LA, it's not that, like, everyone just moves out of LA.
I don't disagree.
Because LA's ass.
No.
Why are you moving out?
It is.
Why? Too expensive.
First of all,
gas price too high.
I'm not saying that we are moving out. I'm also not saying that we aren't moving out. But yeah, I mean, I think you just reach a point in your life, your relationship, your professional life. You just kind of really, you go through everything with a finer tooth comb, and you're like, all right, what's the ROI here? What's the trade-off? What's the input? What's the output? And especially with us, we want to get ready to start having a family soon. So it's just, okay, now we're really bringing that dynamic in. Is this where we want to raise kids? If we did, what would it look like geographically, financially? Just especially post-pandemic, LA has just gotten kind of weirder.
I feel like obviously everyone talks about how house prices in LA are, like, everyone knows LA is expensive.
Dumb.
Yeah, like dumb. Like dumb. You know, and whenever people from LA or you come here and then there's like a big house and like, oh, the house is like $1 million. You're like, I'll give you a shoebox in LA. And like, you see the photos of this is 1.5 and it's like not like maybe a piece of crap, but it's not that much. Is the idea that LA motivates you so much to make an absurd amount of money? Because everyone wants to do well in their life. Let's say everyone wants to start earning in, like, break six figures, get in the mid six figures, break $1 million in revenue, keep growing. But in LA, like, it's already enough of a journey to get to those numbers, right?
Yeah.
But for you to get to the point where you can, like, be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but you still, like, a nice house is going to be $4 million.
Yeah, for what
Like what?
Like for what we would be looking for in a house.
Maybe it motivates you more.
It would. I mean, it definitely does that. But yeah, a starter home that would still probably require work and time. We would be looking at minimum 1.5, like minimum 1.5, and that's like, all right, we're gonna have to do some shit here, knock down a wall, repaint, take some time off. Like, what's the buy-in cost and time just to get into that? It's pretty gnarly.
Then why would you live there?
Well, I think we've talked a good about.
No, we did.
A bit. Wow, I can't talk.
As you can see, I hate Los Angeles.
That journey last time on the show, so go check out the last episode. But I mean, I'll recap and I'll say that I have grown exponentially as a person. LA is and this is what every LA person will tell you. It's just like I feel so alive and I feel so me and like blah blah blah, and it's all true. I have stepped into my own. May has stepped into her own. We've been called up. It's been the most challenging place we've ever lived. It demands so much of you, and it definitely. As you grow and as you get more successful in your career and your personal life, I don't know what assumption we had, but you would think that like, oh, I'm up, but like LA, everything else keeps going up as well. So it's just kind of, I think we're feeling right now this level of, do we want to keep leveling up just for the sake of needing to level up? Or we're both really content personally. We're very fulfilled. We have a lot of meaning, a lot of fulfillment. We've cracked that egg wide open. Now it's just like, okay, where do we want to really be putting our time, energy, and resources to get the most amount of that back? Also, community. It's so true about what they say. Most LA people, it's just, there's no like, hey, let's just hang out, let's come over. You got to schedule shit like a month in advance. Everybody cancels, everybody flakes. It's like pulling teeth to get people to come to your side of town. The traffic, the this and the that and all the bullshit. So now we're kind of just at a point of, I'd rather, either get to a point to where we really don't care about any of that, which isn't going to happen for us because we like people, small group of people. We like community. Mm-hmm. So how can we either facilitate that, or should we consider going somewhere else where that's way easier and already embedded in the code of that town, of that city?
Yeah. I feel like LA is like, I'm going to take this jacket off because I'm freaking hot and I want people to see how jacked my forearms are. I feel like LA is like going into a video game that you've never played on like expert level.
Oh,
and just getting your ass kicked every single time. And
yeah.
It's either going to go, you're going to get better because you're forced to be getting better, or you're just going to suck for a longer time when you could just start another state. But
yeah,
I digress.
Yeah,
moving to Texas, maybe
it is. We're keeping options open. We're looking at Texas. Honestly, dream scenario for me, like especially while we don't have kids, I would love to live in Europe. I would love to like make like Paris, France, home base, and then just we're big travel bugs. So I don't know, because we did Paris last year. We went for Christmas for like 8 days, and besides like getting there, bro, it was 20 to 25%. I would literally pull up cafes and restaurants as we would go out to eat. I would get coffee or whatever, just get groceries for the day. It was like 20 to 25% less in Paris. I'm like, so why the hell? If I can live like how I live in Paris, I would definitely do that compared to living in LA.
So you would live in Paris because your coffee is 20% cheaper?
And other things. Like,
it's
hard for me to explain that to you because we don't share that at all.
No.
The concept of just being away and like, oh, I could hop on a train, go 2 hours this way.
Why would you want to do that?
Dude, it lights me up. She's the same way.
Never. People say never.
Yeah.
But I promise you.
I believe in that.
Never would I move as my primary residence outside of America.
My dream goal would be 1 year. 1 year, no address. Mm-hmm. 1 year, like home base, Paris or maybe Spain or somewhere in Europe, definitely, and have that be home base and then just kind of bounce around.
Like Marbella is beautiful. David and Julia and Rob and Linda, like a bunch of people I know live there. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Like I got people there. It's cool vibes, cool restaurants. But I'm like, I wouldn't live there. Jace, I'm going to see if you know me. Do you know why the number one reason why I wouldn't live outside of America?
They don't have easy access to Cheesecake Factory?
Pretty much.
Or Chipotle.
Pretty much. It's the food.
Which is exactly why I love it. I want to go where there are zero chain restaurants.
Oh, my God.
I don't even want chain to be in the vocabulary.
Oh, man. When I go to the grocery store when I'm traveling, I just hate it, Chase. I don't care if it's like, I'll go visit with David and Julia in Spain, and I'm like, they're like, yeah, these are like kind of like Oreos. This is kind of like
So you're like,
Apple Jacks.
why can't we just get Oreos?
That's what I'm saying.
See, I love that. I don't know what, I think that's like an innate growth challenge aspect of life that I really enjoy. I mean, a lot of times it sucks, and you're going to have that no matter what. Even if you choose comfort, even if you choose the easy place where you can get an Oreo at any beck and call. But like, I just like the idea of that. I like the idea of kind of everywhere I go, even the most normal aspect of life, of getting groceries, of travel, of getting a coffee, is a new experience. And especially in a foreign country, the whole foreign language dynamic, I really find challenging and inviting as well.
I hate it. Yeah.
No, sir, I just don't like it.
Yeah, no, sir, I just don't like it.
Name that quote.
So as you can see, people watching, people listening,
Well,
Chase and I.
They can't see me.
His camo is hilarious.
There we go.
Obviously, he's less funny than I am, but what would you say are because we're different in a lot of ways, similar in a lot of ways. What do you think our main similarities are and differences are?
Main similarity, we definitely have the best sense of humor.
Yes.
We only quote the funniest things.
Yes.
But also, especially by the women in our lives, we're not appreciated for our humor.
No, we're not.
We're not appreciated. No disrespect, but I just wonder if it's because they have smaller brains. They just don't get it. It's science.
Brain the half size of a man.
And then the biggest similarity? Probably facial hair.
See, Chase always trying to make everything funny. I was trying to be serious. I've always, I think I said this on the last pod, but like whenever I explain to you who you are, if people have never met you, I always say that Chase is he's the nicer version of me with a beard.
Yeah, I did have one. I shaved it off this morning.
I was telling Taylor actually yesterday, I said, something that I lack a lot is patience.
And calves.
Yes. Patience, but you're so much calmer than me, and you don't get as like upset as I do.
I mean, I definitely have my moments.
Taylor said she thinks it's probably because you were in the military that you maybe developed more patience. Is that true? Is it?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been unpacking a lot about. Go back to our last podcast. You can understand what I was unpacking and navigating in my life.
Because how long were you in the military?
Years, 6 years.
In the Army.
Active duty of 6 years. I went in right after high school. I enlisted. I was 17. Got out when I was like basically 24, and yeah, I enlisted during a crazy time in the world. And absolutely, I mean, I think anybody, you go into any scenario where you're told what to do, how to do it, discipline, order, thinking of others, just high stakes roles every day. It's gonna mold you, and anybody doing that also as young as I did, when these are just formidable years of becoming an adult, becoming a young adult. Like our brains are still developing up until we're like 25. So we've got that like natural human biology and evolution combined with a massive change state and environment and huge reward, huge risk reward kind of scenario in your day-to-day life. It definitely engrades things in you forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah.
I'd
say like 75% of my 70% of my day-to-day personality and just general attributes are from active duty.
Well, regardless, I think you're a nicer version than I am. Like, I'm a nice guy.
You are a nice guy.
But you're just you just go with the flow of things, where I'm like, if things aren't going the way that I had planned them to go, I'm like, I hate everything. I don't want to do this. I don't want to deviate from the plan that I had in my head. Well, I need to overcome
this is where May would chime in and go, oh, I have stories. But in general,
of you not being patient?
Of me not being patient, yeah. It's kind of like a double-edged sword.
May's his wife, by the way.
May is my wife. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. When I am pretty chill and go with the flow, but that's because I tend to try to understand that there's a reason, there's order, there's like a methodology to this. It's not up to me. Like, this is kind of old military brain of like, oh, the orders change, so it's not up to me to decide why. It's just, okay, I got to do what I was told I got to do. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I get so caught into it sometimes that when it doesn't go according to that plan, and I am so like embedded with the reason and I can't understand, like no one else changed the orders basically, I get very kind of frustrated, or like I try to interject myself maybe too much And this is where it's great having a partner who can kind of tell you like, hey, like it's not about you. Just relax, take a step back, and kind of remind me of those things.
I also think that we're not very like I've never seen you. I don't think I've ever seen you yell, or ever. Like I've never witnessed you yell at someone else. I've never witnessed you yell at me. I've never witnessed you yell or just get like angry. But I also like I'm not a yeller. I've never yelled at anyone.
I definitely think. Yeah, you get like in general a little bit more frustrated.
Frustrating. Very frustrated. I get frustrated a lot, and I think it comes like my lack of patience. But I don't know. I feel like we're not very we don't escalate situations, which is good.
No, absolutely. But there's a lot of like it's like would you rather be I'd rather be a warrior in a Zen garden than a gardener in war. I'd rather be cultivating a life that has order and meaning and purpose.
Say that again. Say that again.
I would rather be a warrior in a garden. I think the phrase is Zen garden. I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war.
Right.
So I would rather know that I had the capabilities of if it escalates, then like we can get there. But like if it requires massive attention and massive energy and massive amounts of me and my people, like cool, I know that I can get there. But I think 9.9 times out of 10, it never really needs to get there. It's just other people's agendas and egos and frustrations and just people being stuck in their own ways. And like, okay, well, I can get past that. So like, cool, I'm just gonna stick in my little garden. I can be peaceful, and then we'll figure it out later.
Well, I think we're like, I appreciate our differences as so that we're like our own kind, different people. But I think that we're like, we're cool individuals.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how we were raised, and up until what, you were 9 or 10, and so I would have been 13, 14. I mean, in anybody's development, but I think especially as guys, as men, two brothers growing up that many years together with our dad and family and like the lifestyle that we had, we literally grew up very grounded people.
Yeah.
Like simple, full of love, just connected to earth and connected to community and connected to family. So, I mean, that absolutely is embedded in our character today.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
And one thing that you're drastically different about than I am that I want to actually dive into is you're a very, what do I want to say here? Health and wellness, spiritual guy. I mean, you're wearing a shaman.
I'm in my shaman phase. I have been for the last 3 years.
We're a shaman. You're very into this, and I want to
goes to Tulum once.
Yeah, essentially.
Literally, I bought it once in Tulum.
And I want to start with you're a big advocate of a lot of very specific like health and wellness like routines.
Yeah.
Tricks of the trade, min-maxing your potential as a human, right?
Min-maxing?
It's a video game term.
See, that's another difference. I don't video game. I don't get that.
Yeah, you do not video game. No, you're trying to boost all your stats.
Yeah. I'm trying to optimize everything as much as possible. So become harder to kill.
Let's start in the morning, Chase. You have specific morning routines.
I do.
I have very different ones. I want to, because I think this is interesting stuff. Walk me through your, like, before you start work, like when you wake up, like what is your, because you're one of those people.
Yeah, but I'm not like I'm not really one of those people.
You're a plunger. Yeah. You're a light therapy guy. You're a
medium therapy, heavy therapy guy.
You're all the therapies.
All the therapies.
Walk me through your morning routine.
So pretty much, I don't put anything on my schedule most days of the week until 11 or 11:30. And that's not to say I have like a 4-hour morning routine, but that's kind of what I block off. So before I even get to work, I don't set an alarm. I haven't set an alarm unless I got to get up early for a specific reason, like a flight.
What?
Like 4 years. I go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time.
When do you go to bed?
Between 10 and 10:30. And then
you go to bed later than I do, bro.
Dude, yeah. The other night you're like, it's like 9:30. I'm going to bed. I was like, holy shit, he goes to bed sooner than me.
Yeah, it's winding down time.
I hear you get up at like 6, right? And then you're in the office by 7. Ish.
I get up at my alarm goes off at. I get up between 6:30 and 7.
Okay.
And then I'm probably like in the office at like 8:30.
Yeah, I'm usually I naturally wake up between like 6:45 and 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
That's when I naturally wake up.
Okay, so we get up at the same time.
Yeah, and then I walk into the kitchen, and I have like 32 ounces of water. I'll just chug water. Then I will do my business, have my first elimination for the day, and then I will take the dog out. And then I come back, and then I have another glass of water with kind of like my morning health cocktail. I'll put a super greens, I'll put electrolytes, depending on.
Why don't you just put the electrolytes in the 32 ounces of water?
Because I want the first thing to enter my body for the day to be just high quality filtered pure water.
Stupid.
Yeah, and it's a difference of literally 20 minutes.
No, I'm saying
My rehydration is not gonna.
If you're gonna drink 32 ounces of water,
Yeah.
what in the world of purified great water? The water's still the same, Chase. If you put electrolytes, potassium,
Okay.
vitamins, why would
also-
you need water as a separate?
Because the first, when you wake up, you're in a dehydrated and fasted state. So I just want high quality water to go back in and replenish. Now, yes, when you're in a dehydrated state, a big portion of that is you're missing minerals and electrolytes. But at least for me and a lot of people, the type of electrolytes you put in, and I use a great electrolyte product. It's a great ratio of sodium, potassium, magnesium.
Ghost Hydration Code Max.
Magnesium for some people can be a diuretic. It can cause disaster pants every once in a while. So I don't want to flood my system and my gut, my body with that first. I want to have something in there. I mean, water's not going to soak up a lot, but so I do water first, and then greens, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, and then kind of depending on the day, I might have some other stuff in there. Most days I'm also putting in some functional mushrooms, like lion's mane, chaga, ashwagandha. I'm a big fan of. That's a root, but an adaptogen.
Wait, ashwagandha. These are like where people are like, ashwagandha.
Who is doing what?
Ashwagandha. That's like the trippy stuff, right?
It's a root. It's an adaptogen.
Isn't that what people take ashwagandha and they go out in the woods and stuff?
Ayahuasca.
Oh, Samsonite. Oh, you could see how I would get that mixed up.
You was so dumb, for real.
Man, I was at a party and someone gave me a bunch of ashwagandha, and I was just
I
like,
gotta
whoa.
go to work tomorrow.
But then everyone else is normal.
If you took a bunch of ashwagandha, it'd be the opposite. And so it's an adaptogen. It helps kind of regulate homeostasis. So it's great for if you're super stressed out. It's actually really good for guys. It can help boost testosterone. I think everybody should take ashwagandha for the most part. It's a great mood.
See, where you take your water in the morning, I take the first thing that goes in my body. First of all, is a smooch on the forehead of my beautiful fiance. Then my greens. I'm not even kidding you, Chase. When the first thing goes in my body is greens, I think I'm drinking an elixir, where I'm just oh yeah, and I'm imagining the greens and my body's going,
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Every cell is just Mother Nature just pissed her pants.
Oh yeah, and the greens are just fucking flowing through my body. I
mean,
love
in a
it.
way, they kind of are.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep going. You take your ayahuasca and then you do it.
I take my ayahuasca every day. I'm just ashwagandha. And then usually, if not then, if I don't have another elimination, then I will.
He's talking about taking a shit, guys.
I'm trying to be
Elimination.
decent about when I
you take two
eliminate.
eliminations.
Yes.
In the morning.
I poop twice before 9 a.m. Yeah, first one's from the water, and then the second one is
And
either
everyone listening is going, he's lying. There's no way
No.
he's lying, or
Ask my wife.
he's stopping short when he could finish in one.
No. I wish I did, because then how many times in the morning I'm finally getting going. I'm like, oh shit, here comes the second one. Wish I could have all gone out the first time. No. So if that little cocktail doesn't do it, and I might have some other stuff in there, less or more, depending on there's so much to unpack in this. Over the years,
There's so much to unpack in my butthole.
I mean, that's true. I know your body, dude. As someone who has made daily health and wellness practices a part of his life for 20 years to 2 decades now, I've gotten really good, and every day I'm trying to get gooder at listening to my body. And we all can get there. It's okay, how am I feeling? What does my body need? What does it want? Did I get good sleep? Did I work out hard yesterday? Am I going to work out today? Is it a go day? Is it a chill day? So I'm just kind of this massive daily algorithm going on into my brain in the morning of, okay, here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to be. Here's what's on my schedule. What do I need just to kind of get back to baseline? And what are some things that I want to, infuse to get me up a notch? So if I don't eliminate again for the second time after that morning cocktail, I then will I'll have my first cup of coffee. I won't have any caffeine for the first 60, ideally to 90 minutes of waking up, just to help make sure I'm not like bashing my hormones.
That's a new thing, right?
Regulating.
The whole caffeine.
I mean, how much of this is really new? I mean, it's really so much in the health and wellness industry. We're just 1.5% of anything that anybody tries and sees out there is actually new. It's all just regurgitated. It's new science, old science. Finally, somebody making something cool again. But so many people have known about that forever. Now it's finally, thanks to God bless, as my wife and I call him, Science Daddy, Andrew Huberman. He's making like science cool again, and people are finally like.
Is he the jacked guy with the beard?
Yeah. Okay. Huberman Lab podcast. He's kind of like changing everybody's circadian rhythm.
I think he's the guy that I heard something that was like, you don't drink caffeine for the first 90 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And I'm more like, so I've been living my life and I've been doing this level of success or whatever, feeling great every day, getting stronger, happiness and everything. But it turns out that's all a lie, Max, because you've been drinking caffeine. Stop it. Like, and I guess I'm just like, I got to change something about what I'm doing.
I mean, look, whatever, and this is what I'll say to anybody, anytime, any place. Whatever you do that works for you, keep doing. But you would be remiss to believe that everything you're doing, even though it has yielded you results,
is the most optimal thing.
And even though I'm not in the hospital, or I have diabetes, or I'm not obese, blah blah blah, it is not optimal for you. And I think objectively, this is one of those things I'll get on board with and say, yeah, objectively, no matter who you are, what your wellness goals are, what your life is, if you pivoted to no caffeine for the first hour to hour and a half of your day, compounded over not really that much time, you would have benefits. You would notice benefits in terms of, it's mostly for hormonal control. So you're not allowing cortisol, melatonin to kind of get all jacked up. Who couldn't benefit from having lower cortisol? Or I shouldn't even say lower cortisol.
I don't even know what cortisol does, Chase.
So cortisol is your fight or flight stress response hormone. Like when you get really stressed out and frustrated, that's cortisol. When we wake up in the morning, this is when our hormones are really kind of doing this dance. It's a passing of the guard, really. You've got mostly evening hormones. You've got morning and daytime hormones.
If you get too excited and the stuff comes out of your wiener, that's cortisol?
Yes. Whatever you need to believe, little boy.
Sometimes I don't know why I say the things that I do. Like that.
I'm cortisol.
Just wiener jokes. Like I love wiener jokes. Okay.
Of course you do. You're Chewning. What was I saying?
Cortisol is your wiener. Yeah.
So when we wake up, cortisol is at its height, and it's supposed to be. Like this is where cortisol gets a bad rap of, oh, I'm super stressed out. So why would I start my day stressed out? But you need that. Cortisol is literally what jumpstarts damn near every organ in the body. It's what gives you that boost of energy. It's what gets you up out of bed. And if you don't have that going up, then you have melatonin still kind of like in excess levels. So that's why a lot of people experience morning drowsiness, grogginess. They're so tired. You really want to be aware, and it all kind of comes down to like when and how often you introduce stimulants into the body, especially caffeine, and when you go to bed and when you wake up. And if you can really control those as much as possible, same bedtime, same morning time, and not flood your body with caffeine, especially first thing in the morning, you're doing the best thing you can for really helping regulate all your hormones, but especially cortisol. And you're also really setting yourself for success later on because you're allowing cortisol to run its natural track, and you're going to get better sleep eventually as well. I promise you, anybody, if you commit to no caffeine for the first 90 minutes in your day for 2 weeks, 4 weeks tops, you will objectively notice benefits.
I've been doing that. I don't really notice anything, but that's
bullshit.
Just,
no, you haven't.
But I'm imagining like
No.
like I have to see physical. Like I have to be like, oh yeah, I like grew an extra finger that I can visually see. Like I don't notice things. I heard that and I have tweaked that. I have stopped. I used to drink an energy drink. I'd say probably like I brush my teeth, I do a shower. I'd say like 30 minutes after I wake up because I'm like, oh, I start my day, right? And when I heard about that, I was like, it was one of those things that I said, I can adjust that small thing and we'll see if it does anything. So I have been waiting the 60 to 90 minutes. But I guess it's like taking a multivitamin. You're like, I know it's good for me, but you're like, what is it? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, it's also one of those things that you're kind of playing the I'm choosing to believe, and there's anecdotal and clinical evidence to show that both contribute to longevity. And where I'm at, where I have been for a while, is majority of my wellness goals and majority of what I do and why I do it is, again, I've been doing a lot of stuff for like 20 years now, and I'm very happy with where my body is at, my internal, external health. Of course, there's always something you can fine tune or make better or just want to like monitor. But I'm definitely more in the longevity game aspect. And if you can help balance out hormones for as long as possible, and if you can help balance out and, you know, manage melatonin and cortisol, especially manage cortisol more, like it contributes significantly to longevity. And by longevity, I mean, like you can quite literally help lower your biological age, meaning, you know, I'm 38, but I went through some really exhaustive panels to measure all this stuff, such as cortisol and other inflammatory markers. My biological age is like 5, if not, I think 6 years younger. So like my body is operating as if I'm a 32 or 33-year-old, but my chronological age is 38.
So is that like?
Yes, I'm traveling back in time.
No. Would the analogy of that be like when someone? It's like when someone gets something for like a deal, they're like, I got it for this, but it's actually worth this much money or something. So when you tell people, you're like, yeah, I'm 38, but actually internally I'm only 32.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm in the 4th grade, but I read it in 8th grade level.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. Basically, it's like same but different, but kind of in
I have a question
reverse.
about caffeine. Are you knowledgeable on caffeine?
A little bit.
Okay. So would 500 milligrams of caffeine in a day...
Stop that. Stop. There's no, you specifically, there's no reason you, Maxx Chewning, should be consuming 500 milligrams of caffeine a day. Maybe one off here and there, but
okay,
stop
okay,
that.
No. 400.
No.
300.
Yeah.
Because one energy drink is 200.
I think 200 milligrams of caffeine in a single consumption is far too much. Far too much. Don't put that down. Put that down.
Okay. On the note of that, because normally I limit myself to like I either have one energy drink,
okay,
and one serving of pre-workout,
okay,
which is 200 and 200.
Okay.
And then anything else that would have caffeine would be like trace amounts in something. I wouldn't consume anything else.
Like a Diet Coke or something.
Yeah, there might be the off occasion or like, but it might be like it's crazy how like everyone will regulate their caffeine, but then if we're out at the club at, you know, the club, it's like, yeah, at midnight I had 6 Red Bull vodkas. Yeah. And you're like, that you're fine. You're like, woo!
No,
woo!
I'm that guy, and I don't really, my alcohol consumption over the years has drastically gone down. I've just become less interested in it. If I am out having a good time, if there's any caffeine in anything, I will choose alcohol, which is far worse for you. I still think caffeine is like, oh, it's gonna fuck up my sleep, it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be all these things. I will choose alcohol over caffeine. That's my personal choice.
Okay. So this question has layers. So 400 is what I currently I consume 400 a day.
Okay.
I'm actually actively trying. Like I'm actually I think doing pretty well at it. At least like I try to do this at least 3 times a week. I think I can get all the way, but now because I really enjoy it's not really about the caffeine in these things. I like the taste. And I'm a huge carbonation fan. So like, that's why I love like ice.
You are,
I love like ice, the drinks, they have no caffeine. I drink those at night. I love I love carbonation. Anyway, I've gotten actually better that now I pretty much don't have, I'll take pump, which doesn't have caffeine as a second one, and I won't have a caffeine. So I'm actually doing better now. I'm probably like 250 a day, 250 milligrams. But there's a lot of times I have these things where I have these really dumb thoughts, and I'm like, is this a dumb thought, or is this a question that
I've known you forever. You have dumb thoughts all the time.
No one's ever thought about this question. Okay. If you were to have 500 milligrams caffeine, let's just say I'm so tired, I'm doing a big thing, I drank 2 energy drinks in one sitting, okay? You have 400 milligrams caffeine going through your body, your heart rate's up, okay?
Feel the vibrations.
Is that for the day? But if I have one energy drink at 8:30 in the morning, and let's say I have another one at 2 p.m., I don't know, whatever it is, 3 p.m. I know some people are like, best your sleep, you don't have it past 3. I don't have any problems going to bed, but regardless, you have it way later in the day. Does your body like, you've had 200 and then it stays there and now you have 400, or does it go 200 and then it's like...
In terms of like adjusting?
Yeah. Like, if you have 200 at 8 in the morning and 200 at 5 p.m., like, is that as dangerous? Because I feel like you're going up and then it's coming down and then you're a period of time you're going up again. I feel like it resets, bro. I feel like it resets.
You know, caffeine's one of those things that
400 at one time, bad. 400 with 7 hours in between each other.
400 at once, absolutely. I mean, that would be a very rare occasion. Like like special operators will down that much caffeine because they've been running off like 4 hours of sleep off 3 days and they got to extract somebody. But at once, absolutely, I would never recommend that really for anybody. Definitely not for daily use. But another thing with caffeine, for most people, caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 7 hours. Meaning, so at 8 a.m., if you consume a drink that has 400 milligrams, carry the 12.
2 p.m.
2 p.m., it would be, relatively speaking, as if you would have another 200 milligrams of caffeine serving. So at 6 to 7 hours later, there's about half of the caffeine still in your system. So why would you need to take another?
So wait, if I
drink?
take 200 and then I have a half-life at 2 p.m. and take another 200, half of it is gone. I'm now only at 300 for the day.
No, it still all counts. So if you're having 200 in the morning and 200 in the afternoon, your afternoon serving is basic-ish. Basically, you're consuming 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay.
Okay. Now that's very person to person dependent. So again, through some of the panels that I've had done, I learned, and I'm sure you're probably the same way because a lot of our stuff, like genetics and kind of just how we are in terms of general metabolizers are pretty quick. We're fast metabolizers. It's hard for us to gain a lot of weight. I learned that I metabolize caffeine very quickly. So I didn't get this actual number, but just kind of again biofeedback and paying attention to my body, I feel as if caffeine for me has a half-life of 3 to 4 hours, And I have caffeine cutoff times and doses. So I won't consume caffeine for the first 60 to 90 minutes of the day. And my first dose, I use a product that's it's a caffeine infused with collagen, MCTs, L-theanine, reishi, ashwagandha, called Strong Coffee Company. I've been drinking it 4 or 5 days a week for 5 years. It's amazing. Right. And also because I love it. And anybody can make this up, but basically L-theanine, there are things you can add to your coffee like L-theanine that bind to the molecule of caffeine that help it be a lot more slow release. It's just smooth stain, no crash, no jitters. So you get that caffeine kind of ride a lot longer, which for most people, caffeine, especially coffee drinkers, it's really about that habit, that ritual. This time of the day, I have a cup of coffee or I got to take a break, whatever. So for most people, it's really not about the caffeine. It's really about what are the prompts and the cues leading right up to that choice in that environment to consume more caffeine. But I think and then I'll have usually 12 o'clock is my general cutoff time, and I'll have another either serving of that. I typically will have that strong coffee in the morning, and then I'll have either a double espresso or a cortado, which is double espresso and a little bit of milk. So I'm getting about 220 to 250, depending on the espresso milligrams a day.
Okay.
If I'm wilding out, 2 p.m. Like today, we stopped at Starbucks. I got an espresso, 2 p.m. Again, because my caffeine cutoff time, I metabolize a lot faster, and I'm all team sleep. I prioritize sleep over everything, so I don't want it to really fuck that up.
I think I could drink an energy drink at 9 o'clock and then go to bed right after.
People say that, and that is one of the biggest red flags. That is one of the biggest red flags that you are so dependent on caffeine and I'm not so regulated to it.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you can drink caffeine at any hour right before bed, you might still be able to go to sleep, but you are not getting as quality sleep as you could.
You're a hardcore sleep maximizer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, sleep. About 4 years ago, I began prioritizing sleep as my number one thing in my personal wellness. And every other area of my life has gotten better. I just feel my best. When I look to my life, when I look to my day, when I look to my choices, I'm like, why did I do that? Or wasn't feeling my best? Or what motivated me or demotivated me? I can always trace it back to I either got really great sleep or I got really shit sleep. And so just by going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, and this is 7 days a week, and then using certain devices, I have a activity tracker, a Whoop, and this is what I use for tracking sleep. It gives me more.
Yeah, Whoop, there it is.
Whoop, there it is. Yeah, so it's great.
Advocate of sleep. You're just overall like a big health and wellness guy. And now,
yeah,
you're a cold plunger.
I am now.
Walk me through why people do cold plunges.
Oh man.
Because I think it's the dumbest shit in the world, Chase. I think cold showers are stupid. I think cold plunges are stupid. Am I calling everyone that does those stupid? No.
No.
But why?
All right, so do you want the
It's an industry that they're selling. How much is a cold plunge tub? How much is that tub? How much is it?
The one I have retails for $69.99, like $6,900.
$6,000 for a giant bucket with cold water. You are crazy.
I'm very grateful to be in a profession in a field where I didn't buy that. It was a perk to
walk me through. Okay, why do people do it?
All right, so
and I think it came out of nowhere.
It came out of COVID.
Everyone was living their life, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second.
It was one of those things.
My hot water ran out, and I feel way better getting in this cold water.
I mean, you do. You're internet, right?
Oh, I'm on the internet.
Your internet's okay, cool. How many times over the years have you seen on the interwebs, various social media platforms or internet channels, there's like a thing, right? There's a thing that someone does, and then someone else does it, and then it gets somehow lobbed into this idea that, oh, to be this person, to achieve this level of success, to be perceived as harder worker, more successful, go, whatever, it's that thing.
That is what I associate all of this malarkey, if you will, of, and call me a hater or whatever, but I can categorize, like, if you're like, hey, what is the most common type of individual that you see cold plunging? I would say gurus and
optimizers, biohackers.
Yeah.
Someone like
because I feel like all these things people are doing, and it almost like, if you're not doing this, you are not ever going to be as successful as I am.
I actually, on my show, I don't know about the timeline on this episode, but basically, so I had the co-founder of Plunge on the show. And the first question I asked him...
co-founder of Plunge?
Plunge. So Plunge,
I thought that's like the thing you do.
So no, they're just...
They got the name Plunge?
Got the name, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Ryan and his co-founder, I forget his name now, but I had Ryan Dewey, the co-founder of Plunge, on. And my first question, I asked him, I go, can we do this without it becoming our personality trait? And he
said no.
And he laughed and he's like, I want to piss off everybody.
Yeah, I guess that's more of it. It's like whenever people do these things, it's like it is who they are as a person.
So, I mean, there's that. I mean, look, social media isn't going anywhere. The fact that, whatever you do, you can post up, and all of a sudden everybody wants to do the same thing. Like, there's the aspect of like doing it to build community. There's this aspect of doing it to show everybody just what you're doing and like, look at me, I'm better than you because I can afford this or I can do this crazy shit or whatever. That's not why I do it. I wouldn't have bought one. I don't know, maybe eventually, but like I said, was fortuitous enough to get one, and so now of course I use it. So cold plunging, cold exposure, whether you're in a bathtub, whether you're in a barrel of ice, or when an actual plunge or whatever, objectively, unanimously has profound health benefits for everybody. And you can look at the mental aspect first. So mindset is like, look, it sucks, right? It sucks. So who would consciously want to get into water, sub 50-degree water, 50-degree weather?
I disagree.
So it has to, in order to get the physiological health benefits, it has to be below 50 degrees.
Because this is the same analogy that I hear people of the cold shower, like David, because the thing he says is like, if you can put yourself in this uncomfortable position of the cold shower, then imagine what else you can do. And I'm like, the cold water is gonna make me a better, like the cold water.
That's where we're at, man. That's where we're at. Some people, but that's you.
I'm a cynic, bro.
Look, but you're wired differently. A lot of people are wired differently. Like, you don't need to consciously choose to put yourself in a cold water every day to prove to yourself that, all right, there's gonna be this hard situation and I'm just gonna find a way to like not deal with it. I'm gonna sweep it under the rug. No, somebody not like yourself is like, you know what? I told myself every day this week I'm gonna take a cold shower. I did it. Like they built confidence. They made a promise to themselves that they kept, and that compounds and that builds confidence. And for a lot of people, they don't have that. They've never had to or felt the need to choose to do something hard. It's completely against their DNA. They don't have to do it. But so that's one aspect. That's the mindset aspect.
Because that's a wild, like I get it, but maybe you're like, I'm wired different because in my head, I'm like, just do better.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that
just
like the fact that all those things you're like go through like someone's head, I'm just like, I can't even comprehend how someone could like I don't understand.
So that's one component to it, and that's the part that you'll never understand because you're already that person. You're already that person that, I mean, you're an entrepreneur. You're a small business owner. You have chosen the hard path every day for 10 years, over a decade. So you got that part down. Check mark. Cold water exposure, cold exposure in general, it really all comes down to what contributes to longevity. Like I was saying earlier, it all comes down to mitochondrial health, basically. The biggest benefits of cold plunging are...
Wait, mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell?
Exactly. So who remembers that from high school, science class?
Yeah.
So it comes down to that.
What other class would it be, Chase? You're like,
I don't know.
You're like, this was science class?
Maybe gym class, because your gym
studies?
teacher was the same as your science teacher.
Okay, keep going.
Right? It all comes down to mitochondria and brown fat. It stimulates mitochondrial growth and brown fat. It stimulates both. And so both
brown fat?
Brown fat. So in our bodies, we have white fat, we have brown fat, and technically gray fat. It's kind of...
Is brown fat like when they had that like example of like, this is what a pound of fat looks like, and it's like yellow.
Brown fat's when you're bulking and you get really tan.
Okay. No, I was asking a serious question, but okay.
White fat is what we are now. It's in the winter. We're not getting sun. You know, we got the little.
Okay, keep going with the cold plunge. This whole podcast is about bettering yourself,
dude. It's anytime I try to like explain anything scientific, you derail me.
Well, this is what the people need because no one wants to just listen to science. Okay.
Well, tell that to Andrew Huberman, the #1 podcast in the world, who gets freaking like 8 million downloads per episode.
See, what's crazy is I'd love to have a conversation with someone like that because I would just have these dumb thoughts.
I would,
and I wonder if they would be like, this is refreshing and whatnot, or they'd go, "Shut the fuck up!"
Can we please, bro? I would love to make this happen. Actually, I know his ex-girlfriend. I would love to get you and Huberman on a lab and just have Science Daddy and fucking.
Bro, it was like when I was
Max the idiot.
When I was interviewing Alex Hermosi.
Oh.
Like I was saying stuff and I think he thought I was like just an idiot and I'm just saying jokes. And I'm like, this is what the world needs, bro. They need people like me.
You're successful?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, okay, what's the benefit?
Okay, so primarily you're looking at brown fat and mitochondria. It stimulates growth in both. Why are they important? Mitochondria, like we already discussed from my esteemed colleague over here, the powerhouse of the cell. Objectively, who wouldn't want more and better functioning of the most elemental, fundamental component of energy production in the body? If you could have more of that, basically more energy, and what is already happening in your body, if they could work better, so you would have higher quality energy and more quantity of energy.
I could get more of it for free?
Yeah.
I love free.
For free. You just have to choose adversity, Max. You got to get cold. Right?
Okay.
So there's that. And better functioning and higher quality mitochondria do literally so many things above my pay grade and things that we could talk about for a whole hour on the podcast. But basically, it helps every cell in your body. And mitochondria are in every cell, in every organ, in every tissue of the body. So it's everywhere. It's not just you're targeting a specific part of your body or a specific system. It's la-di-da-di everybody. So there's that. That, compounded over time, goes back to, feeds into longevity. When we look at people who are dying, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, it's not like saying low or poor functioning mitochondria causes death, but it's like there's a strong correlation. Like people who don't have high quality of life or live for a longer period of time have lower amounts and lower functioning mitochondria. So if you can do that, it's like, okay, if I can have better energy, more energy now when I'm thriving, killing it now, and then also be able to have more of that and live longer, potentially, most likely, and have higher quality of life for as long as possible, who wouldn't want that either? So it's kind of like a win-win, right there. Mm-hmm. And then with brown fat, most brown fat in humans actually kind of lies up here around the neck region, top of your shoulders, your clavicle, which is kind of the tricky part with cold exposure. You can stimulate it by getting in the cold shower, but it's a little bit tricky. But like with cold plunging, for example, you really, the most bang for your buck is to be going up to neckline. So you really almost want to like fully submerge. So that's where you're going to be stimulating the natural resources, natural deposits of brown fat. So brown fat is a really unique fat on the body in general is a hormone. You know, it's fat, it's fluffy, but it serves a purpose. It works as a hormone. It has internal receptors that send out messages to most other organs and muscles of the body. It's like, hey, are we holding on to energy? We're letting it go. And your gray/white fat, brown fat, and will kind of like all navigate things differently. Having more brown fat actually simulates a higher metabolic rate in the body overall. So if you want to increase metabolism, if you want to improve body composition, if you want to improve immune function, if you want to improve the gut, the gut-brain connection via the vagus nerve, like you can do a lot of this stuff by stimulating brown fat. And so we all have a certain amount of it. And then this is where my science kind of runs dry. I forget the age, but I think it's by like age 30, which is actually for most humans, it's the natural decline age for most hormonal factors. So it makes sense that brown fat would kind of decline with it as well. You begin to kind of like lose your reservoir, basically, kind of goes away. And that's typically why you see a lot of people in their 30s, minus a lot of other probably lifestyle factors. They start, have poor health, they gain weight. It's harder for them to have a healthier body composition. It's harder for them to build muscle mass. A lot of that has to do, now we're understanding, with brown fat. If anybody wants to understand a lot more about fat in general, but particularly brown fat, there's a book, and I had her on my show like literally the first year, Dr. Sylvia Tara, The Secret Life of Fat, will blow your mind about how fat works in the body, especially brown fat. So yada, 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 cold water exposure, especially if you're getting up to the neck, stimulates brown fat, at least preserving it for as long as possible. And actually now I think there's a lot of clinical evidence that shows it stimulates growth. So you can actually, this is a good fat to gain, basically. It does wonders, like I said, for immune function, a lot of different things. So again, you have more energy. Most likely you're going to get sick less. It helps retain body composition, metabolic rate. And it really doesn't take a lot either. In a week period, the magic number is about 6 minutes. So
6 minutes, Slim Shady, you're on.
I don't speak
Whenever someone says 6 minutes,
is that 8 Mile?
It's just an Eminem line.
Okay.
6 minutes, Slim Shady, you're on. I promised my mom I wouldn't say fucking for 6 minutes. 6 minutes, Slim Shady, you're on. My mom's a crazy blonde.
What's it like for your audience to have to hear this?
Put a baby on. No.
Spaghetti.
Okay,
so let me wrap up the thought.
I don't know what you just said, Chase.
So in 1 week, really the magic number, to wrap this all up, if anybody wants to like apply it, 6 minutes a week is kind of that sweet spot to get the most amount of metabolic and physiological benefit.
6 minutes a week?
Yeah, so like 1 day a week, you could do a 6-minute plunge. 3 days a week, you do a 2-minute plunge. So ideally, you get 6 minutes per week. Also ideally, in your own combination, 2 minutes minimum per exposure. But, tiptoe your way in if you need 20 seconds first, 30 seconds later. So it's really 2 minutes minimum is kind of that sweet spot to get the most benefit out of it that day. And you really only need 6 minutes per week to maximize results.
That information can also be applied in the bedroom, guys. 2 minutes minimum for maximum results.
6 minutes max per week. Yeah. Also, preferably cold.
Dude, if you're getting more than 6 minutes in a week, I mean, you are top tier.
Bro,
endurance guy.
If you're doing that for 6 minutes, you're missing out on all the cold plunging you can be doing.
That's true.
This is also, all right, this is a safe space, right?
Uh-huh.
It's also difficult as a guy.
Because your wiener gets small.
For any penis owner, in the plunge, dude, somehow it winds up in my small intestine. It's gone up there. Yeah, which makes it difficult if you're trying to have kids.
Oh.
It's like, shit, all right, now I got to go take a hot shower. I got to warm up. I need my anatomy to get back to normal.
Wait, you take a hot shower after you do the cold plunge?
Sometimes. I'll either go stand out in the sun and like warm up naturally a little bit, like a minute or two. But usually I work out, I hit the sauna, and then I come home. My gym has a sauna. I'll come home, do the plunge, and then I'll usually hit the shower and change and get ready for the day.
I don't know, man. I see a lot of these videos and whatnot. I think a huge creator I'm a fan of that I've tried so hard to get on the damn podcast, and he's been responsive, but then it just. I think I've given up trying because I'm like, okay, I'm just some random guy. You clearly don't. But Jesse Wellens, I am a super fan of this guy.
I know him.
And he just doesn't. He like talks to me, but he doesn't talk. Anyway, but he did this. He's a very like health and wellness guy now.
Yeah.
He has posted his like morning routine and stuff, and he's an individual like this that. Wake up, go get the sun and stand in there. Then he does the cold plunge. Then he does the light red light therapy. And then he like walks in the grass. Then he does and I'm just like, how do you have all this time in the morning? Like your morning routine is like 6 hours long.
Here's the thing.
I'm like, I got to get to work and make money. Like, what are you doing?
I love where we're at in social media and the internet. I love where we're at that this is the kind of content being put out. Because
and I want to say I'm a huge fan of Jesse Wellens.
Oh, great dude.
Yeah.
I love where we're at that this is being put out because objectively, most of these things we're talking about have zero or very little cost, very little or minimal barrier to entry. It costs nothing to go to bed at the same time. It costs nothing to wake up at the same time. It costs nothing, of course, if you have access to running water.
Yeah.
It costs nothing to have cold water in your home. It costs nothing to walk outside barefoot and ground. It costs nothing to get sun exposure. So I love where we're at in like kind of like the health, wellness, optimization world that we're going back to like fundamental human basics in a big way. But they're just being glorified in a way that I think like, look, it's not going to solve all your problems. Like this is not the secret to becoming a 6, 7 figure, 8 figure earner. This is not the secret to like finding God. But like they are all great things and objective things that humans can do. And if you do them and compound them over time, most people are going to see the needle move.
I feel like a lot of it, for the average person, I think it's so overwhelming hearing all this information because people, I feel like, are so confused what to do. Because you hear people, Gary Vee, that if you're not living, breathing, sleeping, pissing, working, you're a piece of shit. But now you have to cold plunge and all these things that it's like, well, how do I do that if I need to be working all the time and like waking up and grinding and like, you know, I just feel like people get so overwhelmed that they end up either slacking in so many different areas.
Here's what I'll do. I'll say this. And still, as a certified health coach, someone who went to undergrad and grad school for exercise science, health promotion, worked professionally in the field for many years, this is what I'll tell you. Shut your phone off, shut the TV off, shut off every wearable, every device. Listen to your body. Give yourself, if you can do it at least a week, but 30 days. And just take note of how you feel when you wake up, how you feel when you wake up, what food choices you're making, what little minuscule choices you're making throughout the day. Who do you think of? Why do you think of them? What route do you take to work? When do you get hungry? Why do you get hungry? What's the first thing you go for? How much water do you drink in a day? It sounds like a lot, but just shut every input off and only listen to your body. I promise you, you will have a roadmap to your best life possible. And only then, you know, go listen to other people. All right, what do you do? Why do you do it kind of thing? That's Gary Vee. That's me. That's this other person. Like, yeah, all this shit can work for most people, but should it? No. Should we be adopted? Should we be killing ourselves trying to make ourselves healthier? Should we be stressing ourselves out to be happier? No, I think so much of the input doesn't match the output that we're getting, and we're so attached to, I'm supposed to have this end result like this person, when like we are literally so different. And on top of that, I'll say if you can get, like most people don't get at least annual labs like glucose, cholesterol, vitamin D, just basic biomarkers. If you can get an exhaustive panel, things like C-reactive proteins, things like cortisol, things like omega-3, things like, you know, like beyond what you're just going to get in your annual physical, let that be your governing body to the choices you make and look at oh, actually, you know what? Like, turns out I really metabolize caffeine, so I don't need to beat myself up as much as I maybe have been for having too much caffeine, or in my mind, too much caffeine, or consuming it past 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel you. I don't know. All I know is like, I'm looking at my phone 38 seconds after I get up. I'm checking all my stuff in the first 30 seconds.
I heard an analogy about this that I kind of fuck with, and so that is like when you wake up, if you would invite into your room, how many Instagram followers, you know, how many people do you follow on Instagram?
200.
Okay. So would you, in the first 38 seconds of waking up,
whatever you're about to say,
would you invite 200 people into your bedroom? Just be like, hey, What have you been doing the last 24
Yeah,
hours?
it's called a gangbang, Chase.
I thought you were done with that.
That was my past life. That is not the same thing.
It is.
That's me going, hey, did all my money in the stock market go away? No or yes. Or like, hey, did my company burn to the ground in the middle of the night? Like, that's what I'm checking. It's when everyone's like saying like, I don't check my phone for the first like hour and a half and I do my morning routine. I'm like, I got to see if the world imploded while I was asleep.
My phone's in airplane mode until my first cup of coffee. So for the first like hour and a half.
Well, I hope that the past like deep dive into this whole health and wellness has, hopefully sparked some thoughts into people. As you can see, I feel like a lot of times, I don't know, like obviously I'm a big funny guy. You funny guy.
You're like a mean
right?
funny guy.
And I like joke around a lot and I say a lot of like dumb replies and stuff. And I think a lot of people take it as surface value of like Max is an idiot. But I'm more just, I like thinking like outrageous, cynical, like off the wall responses to like very simple like.
And I'm not that far off from you. Like everything that I just shared.
I get it. Like I get it.
I get it exactly. It's like I'm in the not as much in the business as like I used to be. Like I don't coach anymore and stuff like that. But a lot of my content, my work around that is very health wellness oriented. But like it's like, look, I get it. Okay, I get it. Everyone just get it. Just like no, like this can be good, this can be bad. Like I get it. You gotta have fun with it. You gotta have fun with it.
Yeah, I just overall try to like just each day, month, week, whatever, try to like slowly work towards just being a better, healthier version of myself.
Great.
And when you like clearly see like, it's like when you do things, you're like, I know this isn't good for me. It's like acknowledging that. And how are you going to, like, if you are processing that it's bad for you or like you shouldn't be doing it, whether you're not going to cut it out entirely or stop it, it's just like, okay, like adjust it.
The first step in everything is awareness. So if you're thinking about changing your life or you're unhappy with where your life is or you just think in some small way it could be better or even, I don't even want to say better, just different. The fact that you're even contemplating that, you are on the precipice of change. One other thing I'll say real quick to kind of go back to the cold plunge stuff that I think a lot of people could benefit from is like what it does for dopamine. And to your point, like so many people, last thing you do at bed, first thing you do in the morning, like we are becoming a species of dopamine depletion because we have such fast acting, fast response to get dopamine. We're like, all right, give me the next hit, give me the next hit, give me the next hit. A cold exposure has an equivalent to about a 200% dopamine increase, which is the same as having sex, which is the same as chocolate, which is the same as a cigarette, which is the same as cocaine. So I'm just like, all right, where's the next phase of people cold plunging, having sex, doing lines of cocaine, and eating chocolate all at the same time? That's the world I want to live in. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm painting a picture of how the thing doesn't have to be the thing.
Yeah.
Okay? So, okay, I can't afford or I don't want to get cold. Have a piece of good, high quality, like preferably dark chocolate. Get that 200% dopamine boost. Like, so people we're latching on to the thing being the thing. This is why and how understanding the science behind it can help you understand other avenues of application. And you don't have to just copy and paste everybody that you see online,
Well, I feel like at the end of the day, we're all just trying to improve our longevity. And I'm assuming that's because you want to stick around for as long as possible for your family.
Yeah, I want to live as long and healthy and quality of life as possible. I think it would be dope to be, I kind of have a number in my mind of like 110, 115, but.
Wait, you want to live to 110?
Yeah. Yeah.
Chase!
Why not? Dude, imagine all the shit that we could see.
Well, to be honest, with the advances in modern science, I don't see any reason why I can't live to be 100, 110 years old. Heck,
exactly.
The other day, I just saw some story. They put a pig heart in someone. I mean,
where's this going? This is a joke?
What?
Was this a joke?
No, I mean, the science is getting crazy. I mean, he died, but it's just crazy.
What are the odds? His name was Wilbur.
It's just crazy that they're doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Talladega Nights, Chase.
See, damn it.
Oh my gosh.
Fuck with me.
We're trying to be healthy for our family. You, being the older Chewning, Chase is 4 years older than me. You're 38.
I am.
In your late 30s. You what's on the so you've been married for how long now?
7 years.
Been with May for
over 10 years now.
Good God damn.
Which, props to you again. We wouldn't have met if it wasn't for you. Little matchmaker you.
I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it.
Say it.
If
what?
I have been the single. I have brought together so many people.
Who else?
Who else? Who else? This man said. You would have never met May if it wasn't for me specifically.
I told you, yeah.
Me
I know.
specifically. Yeah. Our friend Nick would have never met Evan. Wasn't for me.
And
wasn't
Daryl?
for me. Daryl would have never met his all these people that are engaged or married. Me.
Well, look at you. So your role on Earth was to be matchmaker to help everybody else find love.
That's true.
You got some.
I'm a really cool guy. I'm kidding, but seriously, I set all these things up.
Yeah.
So you're like
married for 7, together for 10.
Starting family soon?
Yeah. Dude, it's not as easy as you think. For some people, it's just like,
well, when a man loves a woman,
wham, bam, thinking, ma'am. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Oh, maybe she doesn't love me.
I've always, I understand like where everyone's like, hey, we're trying to have a kid, and like I've understood the, and I'm taking.
So you're having sex a lot.
Yeah, and I'm taking out
nice.
the outliers of like complications or like finding out maybe you're like infertile or whatever. But it's like it's always like a trying stage, and then hopefully like soon it all happens. But I always look at that. I'm like, are all this people that you hear about having like knocking up people one night stands? I was like, are they just having the worst luck ever, or like
or the best luck?
Yeah, the best luck. But like, how do people have all of these like? I saw them one time and got them pregnant when there's so many people. And again, I'm not talking about like I have to go to the doctor and get infertile or whatever. But like where people are like actively trying to have a baby and don't for a period of time.
Yeah.
What are the odds that like you go to a party and meet someone and get them pregnant?
The fact that
why are you busting into people? Why are they doing that? Anyway, you're trying to have kids.
It feels good. Yeah, I mean the fact that any of us are here, it's a crazy miracle.
Like, yeah, we're all like alien babies that coming out of like buttholes and wild. What? How many kids?
You think babies come out of buttholes?
How many kids you want?
All of them. In an ideal world, I have the number 5 in my head, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think we want at least 2 because she's a family from 3, we're 3, and we definitely don't want just 1. So for sure, at least 2. I think we'll probably wind up having 3.
What are the names? You have names?
We do have names picked out.
Are you like allowed to say them?
I'm not gonna tell you.
So you're one of the people that like you don't want to say. Well, you don't want someone stealing the name.
So
I'm sure no one else has the names.
She's Persian. I'm white. I'm caramel, like Sam Brown on the inside. That's what her family has been telling me. And so we have like traditional white English names, and then we have Persian names picked out. Some we're still kind of debating like the order. Is it going to be first name Persian, middle name white?
And then they get to choose which one they want when they're older.
No. My house. I paid motherfucking bills in this house. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Definitely that's on the horizon. But even just the whole aspect of we're trying, I think, maybe I'm speaking from my relationship, but I think for a lot of couples, that's just really choosing to believe that your life is about to change. Like you're consciously going, okay, we're going to bring another life into this world. That's more than just, okay, honey, are you ovulating? Let's go, bang it out real quick.
Wait, is that how it works at that stage? You're like trying to have a baby. Okay, sweetie, we can't be watching this show. You're up. We need to. We got to be on there. Come on, on top or on bottom? Okay, that's crazy, right? So when you're trying to have a baby, there's no sexiness about it. It's a.
I mean, look, you try, man. May, I'm sorry, but like, dude, yeah. After a certain time, like you kind of reach a point of it becomes a chore. I don't want to say that, like. It becomes a thing almost like you have to schedule to do, or there are contributing factors to like, are you tired? Am I ovulating? How far has it been off your period? All these different things, and you have to kind of take other variables into consideration because if you really are like, we want this to happen, we don't want it to just be like, no, hey, what up, girl? Let's go wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And then maybe you get pregnant. But yeah, if you're actively trying and you want it to happen, then you just bring more information to the equation.
Okay. So gonna have some kids. Really excited for you. Excited to be Uncle Maxx.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great because
Uncle Maxx again.
Uncle Maxx again. Yeah. Well, I meant Uncle Maxx like to you, to me, to your family. So someone who's been married for 7 years, like what's your advice for marriage? Because I feel like a lot of people, whether they are hesitant to get married or especially now in this whole, men and women are essentially against each other in this like the whole like red pill space.
There's a lot of that going on.
But like so when how old were you when you got married? 7 years ago. What is that? 31?
Yeah, it was like a week shy of turning 31, so basically 31.
Okay, so as someone who's been married for 7 years, how is it?
It's the best.
Yeah?
It's the best. It's
because I'm if y'all don't even know this, but I'm engaged, dude.
Yeah. Again, congrats, bro. I'm so excited
Thanks,
for you
man.
and Love Taylor. I like. We'll get into this later, but I love seeing you in love. I love seing you have love in your life.
Yeah, thank you, man.
In that unique way. Dude, it's the best. It's the best. It's the most. Love is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And when you have it, and when you really realize, like, oh, this is love. I might have been. I had love for this other person before, but when you're in love, I'm sure you can relate. It is the most all-consuming thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most challenging thing because I think you realize how much you care for another person beyond yourself. What that means, like, what kind of person do I need to be? How do I need to call myself up to be a higher person? How I want to support this partner?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's this mirror. It's this mirror. To me, true love is this commitment to this mirror of going, okay, no matter what you show me, I'm not going to look away. And that's going to be stuff with you, stuff with me. I don't think I would be half the person I am today if I didn't have May in my life and I didn't have my commitment to her, which I had commitment to her long before we even got like engaged. Like, we're a unique situation. I think in a lot of ways we got lucky. We had a great bro to hook us up. But I think in a lot of ways we got lucky because, I mean, you remember, you were there.
Yeah.
Like literally day one, I was like, game over. This is it. And when you realize that, so all the rest of your life up to that point, you're kind of like up to a challenge against it. Like, if this is it and this is how I feel about this person, like this is end game for me, what does that mean for the rest of my life? What does it mean for the plan that I had for my life? What does this mean? How is this person going to work into my life? How am I going to work into theirs? So many other things that you never thought about needing to think about just come into play. At least it did for me. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, well, if I commit to this thing, commit to this person, and I commit myself to her, to them, whatever, and commit to us, that radically changes damn near every decision of your life. But what I do give a lot of credit to our relationship, why we're so happy and we continue to grow together, is we have never stopped choosing us as well. And I think that's where a lot of people get unhappy in relationships, in long-term committed relationships, and in marriage. Is you wake up one day and you're like, I don't even know who I am anymore. I sacrificed all this. Like, I could have, should have, would have, all this. Her and I kind of made a promise to each other that, we are committed to each other to grow together. But in order to do so, you have to choose you every day. You have to get up and you have to choose you and you have to choose growth and make the best decisions for your life. And I have to do the same. And if we do that, knowing that we're running parallel with each other, then we're both going to be supporting each other and growing at the same time.
Yeah, whenever people I've seen it happen. It's like usually when people are, maybe they get together when they're super young and then they get to a point when it's like, oh, I just got to go like find myself or whatever. And in my mind, that just means I want to go bone other people, because in my mind, and it's like sounds like a goofy thing, but I'm like, in what world couldn't you find yourself with that person? I mean, it means they're not the right person, because that just means I want to go find someone else. Because like everything you want to do when you're in love is like, I want to do it with this person. I want to level up with this person. I want to level them up. I want them to level me up. I want them to like, guide me in the direction of like betterment of myself and vice versa. And like, I'm like, anything I want to do is with that person. And when I hear a lot of people, it's like, how's marriage? Like, it's good, but like, it's a lot of work and like all these things. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, are you like in the right marriage? Because
I agree. I agree. I mean, look, and I'll throw kind of myself under the bus here a little bit. I mean, when we were living together, May and I went through a break. We went through a period of time.
I remember that.
Yeah. And it was several months, and it was purely her mirroring to me how much I was just, and in no way, shape, or form, what I'm about to say is in any negative light of her. It's hard to kind of describe this. Maybe if you're listening, you've been in this situation. It sounds harsher on her end, but it was basically, you need me too much. You need this relationship. I want you to want me. I was giving up so much of myself for her and for the relationship. And maybe this is because she's Persian, you know, Middle Eastern spice and all that. But and that was a hard thing to hear. It's like, what do you mean? Like, I love you. I do anything. Like, I'm giving you everything. She's like, I don't want that. It's my whole point of like, commit to yourself, we'll grow together. I wasn't doing. I just thought like, oh, I commit to you, and that's all that it takes in order to have a happy, successful relationship. And that's all that it takes. Is like the man or the other person just like give you their all. And she was like, nah, like you're losing yourself. And that's the kind of thing. And she has great foresight of, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to resent the marriage. You're going to resent being with me. You're going to resent me. And that's not fair, especially down the road. You know, if we have kids or we have this other life, it just gets messier, right? So she was like, take some time. We're going to take some time. And this wasn't my choice. But like ultimately looking back, it had to happen.
That had to happen. That had been like tough.
You were there, you remember?
Yeah.
Dude, I was miserable. Like, dude,
you were a wreck.
I was a wreck. And during that time, like I credit to the point of I need to find myself. She told me, you need to find yourself, basically. And bro, I did. Like, you would come out of your room, I would be reading and journaling and doing all these things, and to which you would say, what do you think, you're better than me? But I mean, so much of the man that I am today, so much of, you know, I accredit during that time I found podcasting. I don't know if I would be a podcaster now if it wasn't for that time. If I didn't choose or was forced to choose, find yourself, figure out what you need, what you want, what are your interests without me, I mean, it sucked. It really did suck. But like we wouldn't have the relationship we have now, and I would not be the man or the entrepreneur, you know, have this personal fulfillment and meaning in my life without it.
So how did after you went on a little break, like what was the moment that reunited? What was that like cataclysmic event? Because I'm assuming as the one that essentially got the like go away for a little bit, not like you're making the decision. You're just kind of like essentially like, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Oh, you are? Okay.
Are we there yet?
Yeah.
It's hard to, I don't think there was like a single event, but it was more of less of that. It's so much in the beginning of that break period. I was like, okay, oh, it's been 4 days. Oh, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, like it's got to be enough time, right? It's got to be enough time. Eventually, I stopped coming back to her. Eventually, and it very painfully so, I built my life.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. And there was a period of time for like a couple months where, okay, yeah, let's get dinner. Oh yeah, we'll go out. And it was, I guess, I'm kind of having this realization now. I guess it was really me showing her that I could live without her, that I could build my life, that I could build a life not around her, but putting myself on a path so that I could build a life with her.
Do you think that was something where she said like, you need me too much? Do you think that was you as a man needing the woman too much, or just on either side, one person needing the other person too much?
No, I think it was me. It was more so me, or at least her feeling like me needing her too much, like me needing the relationship, me just always being attached to her and wanting all this stuff. I mean, and it's hard when you love a person so much and you're so consumed, like she's the love of my life, and I literally I would jump in front of a train for her at any given moment. To have that person in your life and to go, yeah, if you want to hang out, like if you want to do this, it's hard to kind of balance that, but it's a necessity, I think. And again, like I said earlier, this is where people really go wrong. They just wake up and they're like, who am I? I've given so much in my life, and I don't know who I am without this person, is almost as detrimental as I don't know who I am anymore. You should not have your identity wrapped up in the identity of someone else or in a joint identity. You should want to have that, I think, to be successful and have a strong commitment. But it should really be like, look, knock on wood, God forbid, like something were to happen to her, or she just for whatever reasons, like I'm out. Yeah, I'm gonna go through a little period of suck and pain, but so much because of that time back then, like I stand firm in who I am as a man. I stand firm in who I am and what I have to offer in a relationship because I know who I am now. I know who I am and what I have to offer. And I can cultivate that potentially with somebody else. Her and I both, we don't really necessarily agree that there's one soulmate, one person for every person.
I think it's an ideal thing to think about. But like if you're take out the like lovey-doveyness of it in reality.
Look, there are how many billions of people in the world? You mean to tell me you and I, like, love May, love Taylor, but if we're not together with our partners anymore, you and I couldn't go out into the world of billions of other people and find somebody to fall in love with?
But here's something I'll say, and I swear on everything that I'm the biggest hype man of Taylor, and I feel like every time I talk about her,
you should be.
I like just simp for her, but like I truly have never in my entire life met anyone like Taylor, ever remotely close, period. No cap, on God, for real.
Bussin'?
But she's bussin'. And like
I still don't understand.
Sometimes when I'm just like with dude and she's like, I don't know, like at modeling in Dallas or something, come back like the next day. And like I'll picture like a little in my mind, I'll go, like, if she wasn't here, this is what it would be. Just me and dude. And I start getting like teary eyed in my eyes.
That's what your life was.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I would hate it. I would hate it if Taylor wasn't here. Like everything that Taylor, like, yeah. So that's love. Falling in love is so great. And that's why I've been on the other side of the fence of not like actually hating women, but just, I got just like, ran through in all of my other relationships of just like me as like me being I try to be like a good, I'm perfect, but like I would be like a good guy. I knew I was doing good things, being a good person, and then I would just get like kicked to the curb or like cheated on or something, and I'm just like, this is how all girls are. They all suck, right? And then to just meet like the polar opposite, it was more like when I met Taylor, I was like, when is it gonna like when is she going to switch to like the normal girl that I've experienced?
When is she going to step into the role of a partner that I've come to believe is true?
Yeah, I'm like, this is like she's putting on a really good facade for so long, but every day I'm just like blessings on blessings. So big at love. I love love.
Yeah.
And so I advocate for love. I'm a big lover.
Yeah.
And so if y'all been in, what is your biggest advice for arguments in a marriage?
Don't run away from them. I think people fear arguments. They fear, most people in general fear conflict. Nobody wants to, most people don't, like, you go to get a coffee, it's like, oh, it's the wrong order. It's like, I'll just deal with it. And like that base level conflict, people won't even pursue. I sure as shit will. But in conflict in relationships, there's this misconception, usually it's based on preconceived notions or past experiences, that if we have this argument, if we have anything remotely close to this type of conversation, it is going to end in a breakup. It is going to end in hurt, heartache, whatever. It's going to end in shit getting thrown out of the window or moving out or whatever your situation is. And look, that might be true, but you're doing yourself and that person the biggest disservice by not engaging in conflict respectfully and in a safe way, because you have two amazing options waiting for you on the other side of that. One, you're going to resolve it and you're going to learn something new about yourself and that person, and you're going to get over that issue. Or two, you're going to realize that this isn't my person. And while one is more so great and the other one more so kind of sucks, ultimately they're both great because you're getting closer and closer to that relationship that matters the most. If you end in a breakup or realize we need to take time apart, things just aren't right, maybe that still is your person, it just needs more time and work. Like, yeah, it's gonna suck, but like, who wants to commit time and money and resources and heartache to things that aren't gonna pan out? And I think that happens when you don't lean into communication, effective communication. We don't lean into arguments and conflict. They don't, nor should they be all blowouts, yelling and screaming. If you're doing that, you're not communicating. If you're doing that, it's just ego versus ego. I got to be right, you got to be right, and you're just bringing up past shit and throwing shit in people's faces. That's not going to solve your problem. That's not going to get you to peace, love, and happiness. Yeah, so for us, it's just really we choose communication, and if there is conflict, one piece of advice I'll say from my perspective that the last year I've really consciously chose this. We don't really argue that much, but if there is something that comes up that is a strong topic, we'll say, I will try very quickly to just go, what if she's right? And just by getting out of the mindset, most arguments are like, oh, no, I'm digging my heels in kind of thing. I will try to shift into what if she's right? So what if she's not trying to argue with me? What if she's not trying to prove me wrong, but just show me an area where I messed up, or show me an area where I can improve, or show me maybe where actually I am wrong. And so if I can just get rid of or try to dismiss as quick as possibly trying to engage in this conversation by being right, I immediately go into I'm learning. And so I think that makes me a lot more calm. I lower cortisol, lower stress, and I'm actually listening. Most arguments, how many of us just are just waiting to retaliate? It's not, yo, I'm going to get you. It's just, okay, I'm going to sit here. I'm just going to hear what you have to say because I'm in a relationship with you, so I should listen to what you have to say and respect you. And I'm not on the defense. I'm just going to sit here and actually listen. And then take a nice strategic pause before I reply and not just try to react. I'm going to actually respond. I'm going to hear what you have to say, mull it over, and then respond accordingly instead of just tit for tat.
It's beautiful stuff, dude.
It works for me, at least. It works for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Taylor and I do a really good job of talking, and something that I've done with her that I've never done before is, you mentioned earlier about the fear of it ending badly or whatever, but that was in the past, it was every argument would, I would just
be a blowout,
or I would just be like, I'm out. I'm not even gonna argue. I'm out. We're breaking up.
And that's a tendency for most guys.
Yeah.
Most guys, I think it's a defense mechanism because we realize, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think a lot of guys, especially in a male-female relationship, we use that as our easy way out. Because we use that as a scare tactic, a scare card to go, I'm out. And if she really loves me, then she'll just drop it. If she really wants me, then she'll realize what a catch I have, what a catch I am. And that's me choosing to not do the work. That's just taking a cop out.
Yeah. Relationships are wild.
They are, man. They're pretty wild.
One thing is me and Taylor, and we don't argue. We have short little conversations about anything that if someone's feeling some type of way, and I've gotten better of if something happened or she said to me in the day, I'll kind of bring it up in a calm way kind of later, be like, hey, we talked about this, and I just want to I felt this type of way, and she'll do the same thing.
That's effective communication.
Yeah, and I don't bottle things up, and we never go to bed we have never gone to bed angry. We do not argue. It's great. We've never yelled at each other, and I've never been in a healthy relationship in love, and so it's great to see, and it's great seeing you. And I don't know, how do you feel about? As someone who's experienced me just being single Maxx and leading into the forever alone kind of thing to being an engaged man.
It's one of those things like when you started your fitness journey and you get all those newbie, anybody, you start running, start going to the gym, you get those newbie gains, and you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. This is great. I'm seeing muscle, or I have more energy. And you then realize oh, everybody should feel like this. I want everybody to do this. You kind of become this advocate for
it's cold plunging.
Basically,
I'm so cold and my wiener's so small. Every guy should feel like this.
Every guy should not be able to find his penis. That's gonna make the clip. You want that for everybody else, right? I want everybody to feel the way that I do. And dude, how many years I would tell you? So you were like, oh, I'm just gonna probably be bachelor for life. I don't know, I'll be cool Uncle Maxx until I'm 50. And I was like, nah, man, it's case in point. I think again, my personal experience with May, I wasn't looking, and then came out of left field and was like, oh shit, this is it. All right. And when you weren't looking, there it was. And I think when you're not looking for it, consciously or subconsciously, you're doing things to work on yourself. You're becoming the best you can be. You're becoming the most comfortable in your skin so that when you meet the person, that's what they feel, man. That's what resonates. That's what comes across. It's not like, who are you? What do you do? The right relationship, right person. And so when you can walk into a room and that energy emanates from you, like that is quite literally what people feel. And so it all comes down to like, do you feel safe or do you feel threatened?
Yeah.
And so when you walked into that room and your vibe was picked up by her, you know, she felt safe in your presence and vice versa, man. Like I just wanted that for you. And I knew it would come. Like I really don't believe that you could have gone the rest of your life not finding that. It was just a matter of time, man. So like I love seeing it, and like in so many little tiny ways, but I'm sure you would agree, like in the biggest ways, man, I see everything you do in your day change. How you navigate certain things, how you respond to people, just like little things that maybe used to like annoy you. Now you have more patience to bring it full circle.
I try. I'm still working on it because I lack a lot of the patience. But no, I think Taylor's, and hopefully I've done the same for her, of like just continually helping me mold into be the best version of myself, because I'm with someone who wants me to be that as well. Doesn't want to change me, but they want to be like, let's optimize to be the best.
I personally don't think it's necessarily a relationship. The other person shouldn't help you become anything else, maybe to some degree, but it's really more so
your potential.
It's like letting the true you finally come out to that full potential.
Yeah.
And I can definitely say that in my marriage, in my relationship, so many ways that I think maybe even you might say like, oh, Chase, like you change, or like this is kind of like how you are. It feels so natural and true to my core of, oh, no, this is who I've been all along. I just didn't have the right relationship, the right container for this part of me to really kind of come out and stay out, you know?
I feel you, man. And yeah, I'm excited to get married in like in a year, and then we're gonna be the married bros.
Yeah.
You excited to you excited for the wedding?
Dude, I'm stoked. I already
have
October
ideas. Of next year.
I already have ideas. Yeah. I'm so stoked. I'll call it now. I'll probably cry.
Feelings. You're like, he's so beautiful in his tux.
When you turned 30 and then when you got engaged, those are really the only two benchmarks I've had of like, oh man, I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
It's wild times, man. I'm personally really excited about I mean, just in the engagement, I mean, everything, but getting married and we're starting to plan it, and which is, you know, hopefully I'm trying to take all the stresses off us as possible by like getting planners and all these things. But one of the
delegate.
Yeah. And I feel like, is there anything that you wish you had done differently in the time of when you're engaged to getting married that you could give me as advice?
It's a joke, but I'm kind of serious. We talked about it a little bit at lunch. Milk it a little bit, you know?
Be engaged for longer. We're gonna be engaged for like 1 year.
Or even if you're not going longer, look, man, I think being engaged is such a unique part of a relationship. It's like you put a ring on it. Does anything really change? This day and age, most like you guys were already living together, so there's not really a lot of those typical changes that used to happen, I think, for our parents' generation. But you're in a different phase of your relationship. So whether or not that's longer or shorter, whatever, but just recognize she's not my girlfriend, she's my fiance. We're not boyfriend, girlfriend, we're not a couple, we're engaged. Like it's such a unique, fun, exciting, it's like the pregame, you know? Like you're in just this hype, this build-up time, and then you're gonna have this amazing moment where that is the defining moment that changes your relationship again. We were in a little bit of a different situation. Like I said, my wife is Middle Eastern, and there were just some different cultural and religious practices that, you know, we chose to respect. And we had a very quick engagement, and a lot of things just happened, and a lot of it was kind of even out of our control. I wish we kind of really capitalized on it a little bit more. You know, really, dude, squeeze out a car rental upgrade or at a restaurant. Just, you know, have fun with it. Maybe capitalize is the wrong word, but just honor the time that you're in as a different time period, not just the same with a ring on it, you know?
Okay. I appreciate that. Yeah. I feel like no matter what, it's like I'm trying to like plan this wedding and think that there's like a right way to do everything and like how it's, you know, this is what you're supposed to do because this is like the traditional kind of ways.
Yeah.
And one part of like traditional stuff is when you're planning the wedding is there's a lot of aspects on the male side and the female side of like things that they do. And one of them that I think is like a very traditional way that I'm going to try to do a little different is on the groom's side. There are there's all like the groomsmen, right?
Yeah.
But you have, so she's gonna have a maid of honor.
Maid of honor or matron of honor. I think it depends on if they're single or married or not or something.
On the guy's side, you have your best man. And I feel like normally you do like some sort of like, you know, special package thing, but I was like, Chase is the podcast guy. And bro, I want to know if you'll be my best man.
I'm gonna cry. Fuck, of course, man. Dude. I was
Give me
like
a fist bump, dude.
Like, I'm pretty sure I'll be invited to a wedding.
You didn't think you'd be the best man? Wait, are you gonna? Will you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Look, here's what I've learned about weddings. You're doing yourself and your relationship to that person getting married to not get as butthurt as possible about any choice they have in the matter. Especially, like I said, you know, in our wedding, there are a lot of things that are out of my control and my choice. But, you know, look, when it comes to who gets invited, who sits where, who's the maid of honor, who's in the party, like, I have learned to just kind of really, like, you might have preconceived notions and assumptions, but it's their day, it's their choice, and you have to respect that. And whatever your choice would have been, I kind of expected to be in the groomsmen party, but whatever. But you've got some great relationships with other dudes.
Wait, there was an expectation? There was a possibility that you wouldn't even be in the...
No. I was like, there's no way I'm not going to be... I didn't even know if you guys were going to do a bridal party. Some people aren't. It's just, you know, and that's cool too. But I didn't want to assume anything, but I have ideas. I was like, dude, if I was the best man, I'm fucking get some good ideas. Dude, well, I'm stoked. Thank you. It's an honor. And... don't you come dying on me.
You know, what's funny is the other day when Taylor started talking about like, oh, what Max wants to do for the bachelor party, I remember in that, I was like, stop talking about it, stop, like in my head. Because she was, and I talked to her later about it, I was like, oh my God, I was trying to deviate away from that. She's like, well, I was gonna go, but I was like, I don't want any conversation. Yeah. I was like, shelf it. And then.
I'll say this, man, you were my best man, and dude, you killed it. It was we did New Orleans, like just your planning, you're like the TSA debacle.
Oh, I put a dildo in his check-on bag.
No.
I taped
it. Yeah.
I taped a dildo to a
water
bottle of water, and then obviously he got flagged at the TSA. By the way, that is the greatest thing you could ever do.
Flag for the water bottle,
just
not the dildo.
For anyone,
yeah.
Take a dildo, biggest you can find. Okay. Just a big girthy guy.
I remember it had the suction cup. It had testicles and everything.
Obviously.
We suction cupped it in our hotel room in New Orleans. It stayed there the whole like 3-4 days we were there.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the shit housekeeping was thinking walking in? 2 dudes, giant dildo on the window 4 days straight. I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Dildos, baby. Well, bro, I'm excited for.
Oh, man.
I'm excited for this, and that means we gotta get you involved in all the other people that are gonna be a part of it. I haven't invited the other groomsmen or anything.
Oh, okay. How many are you guys doing?
I think we're doing 10, 9 or 10. Because it's.
I had 7. I was like, that's a lot.
Well, it's really like, how many does Taylor need?
Yeah.
And then I'll match that.
Yeah.
Right. I'll match.
Oh, you have 10 friends.
I know. I didn't even. Yeah, 10 friends that I would want them to be groomsmen.
True. Yeah.
Groomsmen, but I'm super excited, and
it's gonna be an honor to stand up there, a joy to stand up there with you, dude. I'm so happy for you.
I just want you to know that I gave my best man speech with no notes or anything, so I expect you.
You killed the best man speech. May and I were a little bit nervous because when you were like, I remember when they met, I was like, which version of the story is he gonna tell? Because there's like a PG version. It's technically all true, but dude, I hope to give you half of the caliber of best man that you were for me in May.
Well, dude, I think there's no other person that I want as my best man, as my bro. And you know, you and I have been I would consider us close brothers. But one thing I want to get better at is even just I want to become even like closer with like.
Dude, you texted me like a couple weeks ago.
What'd I say?
You go, hey, what's up? Or like, how you doing? I was like,
oh yeah, I was just checking in on you.
I go, who is this and where's Max? You're like, it's a new thing I'm trying out.
Yeah.
Just check it in.
Well, you know, I look at like I want to take a dive. I don't want this Potter to go. I don't.
Oh wow, we've been talking.
I know, an hour and 40 minutes. I look. So this episode we are gonna post this on the 22nd.
Welcome to 2024, baby.
So the episode, the day that this episode is going live is a very special day because it is the anniversary of our dad's passing.
Oh, we are going to do it that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to go up on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So the day, January 22nd.
19 years.
19 years ago on this day, our dad passed away, and yeah, and so I think he'd be so proud of everyone, but just in this conversation, you know, of you know, you meeting May and Taylor, and actually before this episode goes live, actually the yesterday in real time, we're going to visit his gravesite.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I feel like, I don't know if it's kind of like cheesy to say, but I'm like excited for like Taylor to meet Dad.
Yeah.
You know, as like, because it's, yeah. So I'm excited for that. So today is a monumental day when this episode goes up.
Another thing I want to say that really like kind of sealed the deal in a unique way for me with May was the first time I took her to Dad.
Yeah.
And it somebody can go visit a gravesite and like they can be respectful and do all this stuff, but it's just like watching her, it makes me emotional. Just witnessing her, like she met Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like her and Dad have this relationship, this wildly spiritual connection that I don't even know if Dad and I have. But I was just like, yeah, you're not going anywhere.
Well, and the first ever girl that I've taken to see his gravesite is, you know, the mother, going to be the future mother of my children. Like,
dude, it's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. And when I texted you, kind of like just checking in on you, because you live in California, I live here in Texas, and then I hope you move to Austin because that's gonna be closer. Because
Paris is a little bit further away.
Yeah, don't do that. It's like, so I look at like Taylor's family dynamic, and it's interesting watching Taylor and her family because I compare it to my family, not in a way like how they talk to each other, but it's just like,
yeah, how can you not? I do the same thing.
Yes, and it's mind blowing when I see just everything that they do, how they hang out, but like even just
wait, y'all just call each other when you don't need anything?
Yeah, like she talks to her sister and her mom like every day, and I'm like, and with everyone, but again, I'm having this conversation with you, but like I want to just talk to you, not when we're, I'm going to be in town, I'm going to do this. Like I want to just talk to you, and like I want you to know all the things that are going on. I want to just chat, and I'm always like why don't we do that? And I want your thoughts on this. So this is something that I
like thinking.
I actually just had this. So Taylor and I, we go on our walks. She's trying to get her steps. We go on these walks at nighttime, and like honestly, that's where we have a lot of our like just deep conversations. Because it's like a 20-minute thing. You know, it's like we don't have our phones. There's no TV or anything.
You're just present.
Yeah, and something that I kind of had this like realization of was we were talking about, you know, her talking with all her family and stuff, and I realized how unique our upbringing was, because so just the kind of cliff notes, our mom and dad split up when I was a baby. So Chase was
you were barely 1 year old.
Right.
I was like
so
about 5.
So family separated, and at the time, it's like our sister went with our mom, who lived 2 hours away from where we were, and then the boys stayed with our dad, grandma, stepmom, everything. So it was like separated, right? And we would, was it like once a month or
like every other major holiday, summer break.
Yeah, so we would go, and then like
once a month.
we would go visit mom, or we would like they would like swap
We'd literally
kids.
meet in the middle. We would drive like an hour and a half in the middle, just swap.
Yeah, we'd like swap kids, and then when I was 10, I moved to live with mother, and my sister Chase you stayed back and
I basically became an only child in that household.
right, and then about
like 3 years later.
Yeah, like 3 years into me living with my sister. And keep in mind, I had not lived with my sister. It was just holidays. We would see our sister.
Yeah,
and
so
like
you would have been 10. She was like 12.
Yeah, and so we would see maybe once every other month. You'd see your sister or whatever. And then I lived with her. But then she moved to where but you started,
Brittany was living with me the last little bit less than a year that I was in home.
Yes.
I graduated and left.
So me like living with my sister was 3 years. You had 1 year with Brittany, and then it was just Brittany with our father and stepmom and that side of the family. Chase went off to the military, and I was just with mom. And I had this kind of like epiphany. I think I'm talking a lot, but I had this kind of epiphany. I was like, that is the most strange dynamic, because I was like our family was split up. Like, is that a normal thing to have our brother and sister essentially split up, so that for the first 10, we saw Brittany, let's say, I'm just going to throw out like every like other month or something. Like
let's say 6 times a year.
6 times a year we see them, but then from 10 years old, and again, I didn't have a super deep connection with our mom until I was 10. And so it's like, it's such a weird thing, because I started my relationship with my mom at 10. I then stopped my relationship with our dad and my stepmom at 10. I started my relationship with my sister at 10 to 13, then stopped that. I lived my relationship with you until I was 10, and then stopped that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why we're so messed up, because I was like, is that normal when parents get divorced to just split the kids up? Because
that's why my therapy bill is so high.
No, I was like, we were split up as a kid. I was like, why don't I talk to Chase all the time? I was like, and I'm going to try to finish this little rant up, and then you can just tell me everything you think about it. Because another thing, on top of all that, of like, I think that's why our dynamic is so interesting, is because we only had certain chunks in a couple years that we developed and started and stopped relationships with massive parts of our family. But another thing is, a lot of my life started like as like Jeep Max, like 15, 16. Like that's where like my memories like start as like my youth or whatever, because everything else before that, and I think I don't know if it's like trauma with like dad passing, but like I was telling Taylor that like my whole world before like 15 years old, 16 was running around the mountains, Chase, dad memories of like mowing the lawn, him yelling at me for going too fast, little spritz of that. But then I was like, and I don't mean this like to come off any way, but like, it's like our grandma was there. Our stepmom, like, but like my whole world was like chasing dad, and like everything else is just like, it's like my brain is encapsulated in these like small memories, and then everything else I have to like try to remember of. There was a lot of other people there too, but like my brain goes into these little memories of like dad and you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. That was a long rant, but whatever. But I think the concept of us being split up and stopping relationships, and like, that's why I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
That's a lie. That's a unique thing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, I've had this realization before, and I've talked to May a lot about it, because one of the biggest struggles that I have had, especially since I got home out of the Army, was I had this idea that, we're all a family. And I had a lot of struggle kind of getting other people on board with that idea. So hard to kind of articulate. I had this idea of what our family should be like, and when I came home, it wasn't like that. And as much as I tried to orchestrate that, and even to some degree, you know, step in as like the man of the house, you know, dad's gone, big brother, all this stuff. I struggled with that. And it wasn't honestly until really meeting May and unpacking a lot of that, because she comes from a family, no divorce. They've been together the whole time.
That's Taylor's family as well.
Right. And there also is a very unique cultural and religious aspect, you know, different culture, different religion, different practices. And so there is a very, almost like, it's like we're over here and they're over here. Neither is right or wrong. It's just what it is. Like overbearing almost kind of family dynamic. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I that's kind of a lot, but what we have isn't enough. And so I went somewhere kind of in the middle. And you know, I think even that's where you and I, you know, we have some like brother fights over the years, and we've always come back to each other. And honestly, it really was just me kind of like trying to force this ideal of family on everybody that it kind of maybe sounds like you're realizing now. I love that. I love that. I love the realization of, oh, I didn't know there was this part of my life, of me and my family, that I don't even know I want to say was missing, but just matters more to me than I realize. Yeah. And it's not some missing person or missing component. It's just as simple as, I'm going to text my brother. Yeah. You know? And it's so cool. And it's so cool. But to your point, like, even if our parents didn't split up, I think I said to you the other day, look, our parents, they had us 2 years apart each. Even though we had the same mom and dad, we didn't have the same parents. Yeah. Anybody. Look, dude, you're 34, I'm 38. How much do we say every day, like, oh, I'm just figuring it out, still figuring it out, still figuring it out? Like, if we had a kid now and a kid in 2 years, like, we are different people. We are in different places in our life. We're trying to just dance the dance of life in so many different ways, and your kid gets that version of you. Add on to that, like, you're living hours apart, you get divorced, different family dynamics, you're going to have a wildly different experience. And another, I think, unique thing about what you're talking about is, I think I really do, I'm not a big, you know, got to be a man, masculinity kind of stuff, but there is objectively this component to the uniqueness of masculine energy, of the male. And I think especially growing up how we did, so connected to nature, you know, there's like that very rooted natural aspect of human and kind of like earth coming together. You know, it's no surprise to me that most of your core memories and what you latched onto was your older brother, father, because that's how we learn. That's who we mirror from, and that's so much of what is imprinted, especially as a man, and our role in the village, our role in society, our role in that little community. So it makes sense that the other kind of maternal figures, especially at your age, weren't as embedded on you as, you know, Dad and I were. And, you know, I think the later on in life, especially as a guy, when you kind of really step into your idea of masculinity and how you want to show up into the world, I think you begin to kind of just naturally analyze these things a little bit more of, how did I get here? What do I feel like I'm missing? Or you look at other people's dynamics as well as going, oh, like, that's interesting. I don't have that. I do have that. And it kind of just, you begin to make sense of what you had or didn't have. I think about this stuff all the time.
Well, I look at like Taylor's dynamic with her family, and just even just the communication and like, yeah, they see each other because they live like, you know, 20 minutes down the street from everyone. Yeah. But just like the way that they communicate, and like, you know, that holiday hayride we went on, that is like the 11th year in a row they have all done it.
No way.
And I'm like, that's so cool. Yeah. And I just associate, oh, like, she's this way with her family because they didn't split up. But then when I had that realization of like I didn't start like my relationship with our mom until I was 10. And I
didn't start mine with our birth mother until I was 24.
Yeah, and the first 10 years of our life, when I'm like so young, and it's hard to remember that young anyway, was like with you. And then essentially from 10 until 20, we had no relationship, essentially, because you were in the military. You know, then you were
10 until 24.
Yeah.
I came home a couple times.
Yeah, and it's like, and then in like my relationship stopped, and like I'm like, that's so weird. I was like, I never thought about that that the kids were split up, and then we flip-flopped at the middle point of 10, when like you start like completely changing as a person.
Dude, yeah, add puberty into the mix of anything.
Yeah, and I'm just like, it's interesting, man.
And these are the things that, you know, how many times would dad or a parent say, like, you'll recognize this when you're older, or you'll know when you're older, like you'll think about this stuff when you're older, and it's true. But I definitely have beat myself up. Maybe it kind of sounds like, my words, not yours. Maybe beat yourself up or just questioned your role in our family dynamic. But it's because we had all these assumptions of like, oh, well, everybody else's family is like this. Like, why isn't ours? We had a totally different experience. Different upbringing, different nature, different nurture, the flip-flop to your point. And so much of, May told me this, of like, in like a joking way, not really, but I kind of have like a 6-year stunt to family dynamics, professional career, and just society as a whole, because so much of my formidable years, like I said earlier, I spent in the military. From 17 to 24, I was in the Army. And, you know, then I came out, then I started college, then I got reintegrated into our family. And only at that point was our family kind of really all together again. So I kind of feel like I'm 6 years behind the curve in like many ways, trying to just play catch up with this stuff.
I think that you are the glue in our family.
Thanks, man.
Like I really consider you like one of the only reasons why we have the relationships with each other that we do. Like you're just like, you are the glue. And I don't know if that's because you're the older brother and like, I don't know, man. And
is it because I'm the stickiest?
You're very, very sticky, very, very sticky. But the whole point of that whole
humor,
rant and everything, deflection, was like, I've told Taylor, I'm like, I don't know why, like, I don't have this best friend relationship with everyone, but like with my brother. I was like, we grew up together and then we like separated, then we lived together. But even like then it was like, I'm like, I don't understand why, like, why aren't we best friends talking 24/7 about everything? And I'm just like, oh, it's because he's doing stuff. I'm doing stuff, like whatever. But I'm like, like, this is my brother. Like, we grew up together.
Well, if
like,
I haven't said it out loud, I mean, I'll say it here to your face. I'm sure you know this, but like at any point, if you ever want to talk, if you ever need me for anything, like literally, you, our direct family, are the only people I have that are authorized to go. I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb all the time. It's you, May, mom, sister, family. Like, you are the only people, calls, text, whatever, that will come through. Like,
well, I feel like we have good relationships, but I'm always like, I guess I just compare. I'm using Taylor's as an example, but like when maybe it's a girl thing, but like when she is like thinking about doing something or buying something or whatever, it's like, Mom, what do you think about this? Sister, what do you think about this? She like just talks, and I'm always like, I'm more like, oh, yeah, I talk to my mom and my family when their birthdays are coming up, like when holidays.
This is where May would jump in and go, white people. She's like, have you talked to your mom? I was like, yeah, I called her on her birthday. Chase, it's been 2 months. Like, yeah.
I'm like, yo, yeah, I mean, it's like I talk to mom maybe once a month, maybe. Probably, like, there'll be like 2 months go by. I'm like, like we talk about something, but it's only when like, oh, we're thinking about coming to here or whatever. And like, I just, especially as I get older, I'm like, it's like I see Taylor's family and I'm like, I want to rebuild that with our family. Yeah. And I don't know.
Let's rebuild it.
I think it's a great thing to do, man. And
put our Bob the Builder hats on and get to work, baby.
Yeah, and you know, everything I do in life, I don't know if it's the trauma of dad's passing, and I always feel like using
it's a very real thing.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know if it's a man thing, but like I feel like when I use the excuse of my dad died is like this like cop out, like, because my dad died, because my dad passed, you know, like, and I'm always like, just like, Max, you don't need to always use that as like.
It's a very valid thing that happened to you and a lot of people. It's a very valid experience that you went through, but it's only a cop out if you let it be. It's only a cop out if you choose it to be. You know.
Well, moving forward,
ever forward, baby.
Moving forward, best man. I want you to freaking move. I hope you move closer.
just in. We're not leaving. We're staying with you forever.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, man. I always enjoy when the family's together. Then you specifically and I think have a very unique bond of just like, because like literally until I went to college, I have like two memories of like, I have two time periods in my life. It's obsessed Jeep Maxx, building Jeeps in driveway of mom, Jeep Maxx. Nothing before that until running like you and me in Roanoke. Like it's you and me running through the woods, doing all these things, setting ants on fire with a magnifying glass,
building forts and chopping down trees.
Like you jumping across the creek with this can and like Chase fell in like the can.
Severed my pinky.
The can, and then Chase is like, and he's like, it's like gushing blood. You see the bone, and he's like, go get mom. And I'm like, ah! like those are what I remember, like
vividly.
Oh,
dude.
I wonder if like it's like,
wonder if this is flammable.
Yeah, and like it's like I only have like that memory of my childhood is like you and then Jeep Maxx, and it's like, so that's why I'm like our bond. I feel like we're close, but I want us to be closer.
We remember the things that matter most to us. Case in point, I mean, you get a new piece of clothing or you have this amazing family vacation. What do you remember most in 10 years?
Clothing. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I love this jacket. But I'm with you. And I mean, this is the beauty of what you're talking about. This isn't like okay, now how do we figure it out? It's just, you think about it, you make a choice, and you just do it. Like, our lives will be better now because we talked about it, and it's just a matter of communication. That's it.
Feelings
are dope.
I think that's a solid time to wrap this up.
I'm stoked to be here with you now. I'm stoked to be here, for this episode going live on this very special day. It's wild, man. Like I'm excited. I'm so excited for the future.
Are we gonna film another one right after this?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. You want to? Where are you at?
No, I'm good to do it. But what I want everyone to know is if you
is mom gonna get mad at us? Never fine.
She'll get over it.
I'll make mine shorter.
If you loved this episode, I had a whole section of going into like everything that all the things about you personally.
Yeah, we did that last time.
We talked about small wieners and cold water for too long. But
is that gonna be the thumbnail?
Something like that. Yeah, your small wiener on the thumbnail. People wouldn't be able to see that. But there will be another. I'm gonna put everything that Chase does down in the description. But Chase is like the podcast guy, especially if you want, like, instead of the Max, you're so stupid, why are you saying these dumb things? Like, you want actual intellectual, like, thought-provoking, deep conversations.
Don't sell me too much.
Chase's podcast, but we're gonna film one, and it's also gonna be
today.
Up the same time or day as this one. So I'll link it down in the description. So make sure you go check that out and check out everything that he does. But thanks for coming on the show, dude.
Thanks for tuning in.
No, that's my line. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that'd be another fantastic episode of Don't Be Sour. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're on any sort of podcast streaming service, give us a 5-star review. Don't know what it does, but I think it helps. Thank you so much for tuning in. Eat more sour strips.
And don't you go dying on me.
And ever forward. Woof!
Oh, that would have been the obvious next line. Yeah.
Dude's like, I have to take a shit.
You don't say.
I'm out.
Can you ear sweat? Fuck, dude, that flew by. Shit.